Nick confesses to murder, Bobby deals with City Hall, and Jessica is under investigation from the feds? We're talking Pearson season finale. This is it, people. Let's talk about it. Let's go.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hey-o, what's up? How you doing?
Finale.
Oh my goodness.
Ow.
What is up, people? Thank you so much for joining us. We are talking season 1, episode 10, season finale, Pearson. So much stuff to talk about.
Oh my God.
Just sitting there, I don't know how many times we were like, oh my God, what's going on? So let's just, like I said, we got so much to talk about. I just want to, kind of dive into everything. But first, let me give my co-host, let her introduce herself.
Shout out. Hi, guys. How are you? I love you guys.
And
gonna miss you guys.
It's your boy, Tanir Williams. Like I said, we're here talking season 1, episode 10 of Pearson. Before we get into it, like I said, we'll have our special segment a little later.
Yeah.
You're in contempt.
Boom, boom.
We'll have our best quotes of the night. I wrote down quite a few, so that we'll have to go over, and we'll have a little news and or some stuff, a little media later, maybe something.
Exactly. And before we get into it, I just wanted to give a quick shout out. We have viewers and listeners, Valerie Carter. Thank you so much for always tuning in. And she's like, Bobby is forever in contempt. And we also have TVGYRL. And thank you for tuning in too.
There we go.
Thank
we
you so
appreciate
much.
you guys, definitely. So what were your overall thoughts?
Oh my God. I was kind of... Nick is such a strong character. That's one of the things that really stuck out for me, because I was just like, he was in tears.
Right.
He was so emotional. He was like gun to his head. He was like ready to get rid of himself. Like, I was like, oh my God. I just did not vision he would get this emotional.
Right.
So the very powerful finale, full circle.
I was going to say, for me, that was just the best. I mean, when I saw how they were wrapping it up, I was like, no, like literally at the screen, like, no, I'm sure you guys too were probably looking like, wait, I've seen that scene before. So I really enjoyed the way they did that. So let's look, you kind of touched on it. Let's just dive into Nick confessing about the murder. So, episode opens up. Well, let's even take it back real quick to episode 9. It ends with him at Carrie's door talking about, I want to confess, Right. So that's where they pick it up this episode.
Oh, I do like how they do that, how they transition.
They just get right in there. Mm-hmm. So he comes in, starts spilling his guts to Carrie. She's kind of taking all this in like, wait, what? Like, I'm trying to get out of City Hall, all this nonsense, and you're bringing it right into my house.
So I want nothing to do with this. And call up Pearson.
Exactly. And he's spilling his guts, like you said, crying. And she's just like, okay. Yeah. Like, first of all, I'm going to need to get, some help on this. So she ends up calling Jessica.
Well, I mean, he's been bottling it up for 15 years, folks.
Man.
Bottling it up. If you're bottling something up for 15 years, I mean, you're going to get really emotional.
Oh, yeah. And
I didn't realize it was 15 years.
No.
He spilled the beans on that one, too.
And like you said, he was just like, I mean, he was so ready to do it. He's like, I'm ready to go right now. Let's go to the police. And she's like, wait a minute, settle down.
It's like, finally, that picture that we saw at Jessica Pearson's house.
Right.
With Tommy Deal being dead and Lillian, her aunt, finding that picture like, hey, that's my neighbor.
Right.
All full circle. That is the man, and he is involved in this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, along with Bobby.
That was, well, first of all, it kind of, because last week, one of my predictions, I didn't know who... I was like, who is he confessing murdering? Because we didn't know. He had his meeting with McGann. I was like, did he shoot McGann? Is he going to talk about Tommy Deal or whatever? So we obviously know through the episode that it wasn't McGann. So he confesses on Tommy Deal. Like I said, Jessica gets involved. Carrie brings her in and, kind of does a smooth move, brings her over when she said, oh, he thinks I'm out here getting food. They walk into the apartment and he's like, what? And I knew he was going to be like that. Like as soon as he came in, I was like, he's going to be like, oh, you went and brought her in here. I thought maybe he might go ballistic in the apartment and maybe someone might get hurt. But Jessica steps in and, you know, kind of takes the role, goes back to her, I feel like her corporate lawyer days, like how she was on Suits, you know, like she got back in lawyer mode, like, hey, we need to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
You know, we need to make sure our stories are straight, all that kind of stuff, preparing witness type thing.
Yeah, she definitely became Miss Lawyer again. And she likes Nick. You can tell, like, look, Nick, we've had this talk. You just never fully confess. So
because he still tries to play that hard role. You know, what are you doing? Like you don't care about it. You know, and she's always just very like, Nick, if you want to get out of this is what we need to do. X, Y, and Z. You know. So she ends up. Oh.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say because it's like Valerie. Thank you for watching and tuning in and listening. She says Jessica and Angela are very alike. Which is, I mean, I know this has nothing to do with Angela, but we do have some stuff to talk about Angela later.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, family. Can't deny it.
No, for sure. And so, like I said, with Nick, she ends up taking him back, or literally taking him back to her place, you know, to go over, get stories straight, kind of get his whole confession. He's in a very fragile state when he gets there. Yeah. She tells him, you know, he's got the gun. Look, can't have the gun. Like, you need to, you know, I can't sleep with you, you know, and I understand that.
I was so nervous because he was so emotional. I was like, I mean, anybody could just do anything to them. You're so emotional. You know, you're ready to just give it up.
And it was telling when she said, he was like, oh, I'm not going to, he said something about, I'm not going to hurt you. And she's like, it's not my safety I'm worried about. It's you the one that's all, like you said, super emotional, could go off anytime. I don't know what. So I guess by looking out for you, I'm looking out for the both of us. So please let go of the gun.
Yeah, like you can stay here, but you cannot sleep here with that gun in your possession. So you need to give me your gun.
Exactly. and so he gives it up. Next morning goes through, I guess, writes out his whole confession. So you kind of think like, okay, she smoothed everything over. They're kind of talking about things. Yeah. And then he goes, and what I thought was going to be the super pivotal part, when he goes to take the shower, I was like, no, Jessica.
Oh my God.
It's about to go. I was like, as soon as he was like, do you mind if I go freshen? This is like out of a movie. And I was like, guarantee you Jeff's going to walk in. And that could be some problems. And
then you know what? The next scene was showing Jeff in the car coming on over. I was like, oh my
Here we go.
No.
And then they kind of threw us for a loop because that's when the Fed stepped in, pulled him to the side. And at the time, I knew it was something not good just because of the way they talked and Jeff's face. And they were like, can we speak with you for a minute? So I was like, okay, well, semi-crisis averted in terms of him walking in on Nick, you know, in the shower with Jessica at the house.
Exactly.
But Jessica goes through, combs through his confession and figures out you didn't do this by yourself. You had some help.
There's no way, because you're 160 pounds, soaking wet. So how did you? This man is a big man.
So you're about to take the fall for someone else and go through and do this. So now she's on the mission to find out who is it? You know, who else helped you do this?
And Lord knows we find that out at the end of the episode.
Man, so that was, that was a huge, like you said, part kind of this whole time we were thinking, oh man, Nick did this, just shot this dude. Come to find out, there was someone else involved. And we find out that Mr. Mayer didn't exactly have his hands clean in this whole situation. So that was a big, just, so many just twists in this episode tonight where you're like, no, like every turn, every situation, just they're leading you down one way and then we're going to take you left, or no, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So, so that was kind of the situation with Nick, that, that whole situation, figuring that out, which obviously led to the end of the episode with her finding out that, Bobby was the one. Nick's ready to fall on the sword for him. And she's like, hey, are you going to do something? Like, your brother's ready to go to jail for you. Mayor's still kind of concerned with, hey, image, how this is going to go down.
No, he's just concerned about himself, because we already know that the mayor is pretty selfish.
That's basically it. So, but he kind of comes to a little at the end where she's like, look, if you want me to fix this, she basically said like, I'll fix this for you, and then like I'm out of here, you know,
because
type
like
thing.
don't forget that's why she was hired,
Right.
to fix this McCann
Right.
situation.
Right. And she just didn't know quite how deep things ran. And now that she knows, she's like, okay, I'm in for it.
You're right. Let's fix this.
So let's get it
The
done.
right way.
So, so that kind of came to a head, that whole Nick situation, which was, like I said, it was, I mean, man, a lot of twists and turns. So I'm glad they addressed that, how all that came out, which, well, I'm going to save that for predictions. I don't want to get ahead of myself because we got some other stuff to talk about. 'Cause I got some thoughts about going forward. So, you know, like I said, the other thing and the reason that Bobby was kind of dealing with a lot of stuff is because he's still dealing with the whole City Hall revolution, the homeless, all that kind of stuff. Before we dig into that, though, guys, we got a quick little announcement for you that we always like to tell our listeners and how much we appreciate you.
And we appreciate you guys because you guys are also our host right here from your home. And thank you for making us the ESPN of TV talk. We can't just say enough of thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you, and share, like, make more, like, tell all your friends. Subscribe, write comments. We always chat with you right back. And if you're on iTunes, you know, hey, ratings, 5 thumbs
5
up,
stars.
and all those stars and the toes and the high fives. Just do it all. And we really appreciate it because we can't do this without you, honestly. And we love you so much.
Again, we do. We love you guys so much. Thank you for supporting us, whether it's watching us on the live stream, whether it's on iTunes, listening to the podcast. Like I said, give us those ratings. Gets us ranked higher, and we can bring you guys more of what you love, which is us reviewing your favorite shows.
That's right. We'll give you a shout out each time.
For sure. So moving on with Bobby. So Bobby is, he's still having to deal with the whole homeless situation.
Yes.
People sleeping across. Angela's leading the revolution. She's just come off.
Crazy.
Yeah, she's just come off giving her very riveting speech at the city council meeting.
Yeah.
And Bobby's like, look, like he's really up against it. He's got people like Derek coming at him, you know, because of the whole Icarus project, in which he, obviously everybody knows how he had promised McCann the project. And now it's kind of coming back to him. So he pulls a jack move on McCann at the, groundbreaking of where they're doing the new development.
Oh, yeah.
And in order to really, I guess, like squash the revolution so that people don't tear down City Hall, he goes in there unbeknownst to McCann and says, hey, McCann is building this Icarus project, but in order to supplement this, he's going to donate 200 units on Huron, which is a very nice area. And that's why he was looking like, are you crazy? Like, you know, probably letting, as he said, those people into that kind of, those living conditions. He's like, are you trying to get, you know, stuff started? Because they, you know, obviously they will not be happy with these people moving into their.
McCann, that's a contempt right there.
There we go. That was high on the list. That was high on the list. Number one. I think everyone else got pushed down when I heard that. I was like, come on, man.
I wrote big fat note, racist.
Right. So Bobby pulls that and feels that he can buy himself some time.
Yeah.
Calls in Angela. Angela, always the revolutionary, not really going for it. And which is understandable. I mean, she's a smart girl because she says, okay, that's a great temporary fix, but
like
for
what is
how
it,
long?
like free for 3 months?
Yeah, and he's like it's for 3 months, and then afterwards, you know, she's like, where are we going?
All the money that they make, seriously, 3 months, you guys can basically give them a year. Let them get themselves together.
If Jackie was leading the revolution, she's like, oh, man, you guys in here for a year, and we're gonna get more. Like, okay. So she's getting in there. Like I said, Angela's continuing to push for the people to get housing.
To her.
Yeah.
This is why is why they're saying Jessica and Angela are very alike. I mean, they're fighters. They're leaders.
For sure. And so like Bobby's got to deal with that. He's trying to come up with a solution, and she keeps battling with him on it. In the meanwhile, on kind of a little side note, there's the one scene where he walks through and he's asking like, "Where's Carrie at?"
Carrie.
I'm like, "You still worried about this girl? And you got
Carrie
the whole
is
city on your
leaving,
back,
baby. She's
not
quitting.
thinking
She
about
quit.
you, man." And so he's, like I said, he's dealing with that, wondering about Carrie. He's, like I said, Derek steps up again tonight. I was really like, wow.
Impressed by Derek.
I mean, come on, man. Like at that, when they met in the city council chambers, and Derek always continuing to push for Icarus. He's like trying to get like the, fight for the people.
Yeah, because he's not only a press secretary, he's more than that. And he is for the people. He's just, because, Bobby mentioned like, oh, you take a paycheck every week. You just take it and you just leave.
Right.
And but now like pick a side.
Right. He told him, he's like, I don't need you straddling. He's like, I'm trying to support you, but he also wants to be for the people. Mayor gives him the ultimatum, pick a side. And he's like, I just did. Gets his stuff and walks out. I was like, you go, Derek. That's what I'm talking about, son. I got my headphones falling off. I'm getting all real. I was like, wow, black man, that's what I'm talking about. Picked up his stuff, walked out, and even the mayor was like, I think, oh, dang. Like, he really did that right there.
He really did.
Derek was like, I done had enough.
Listen, Bobby is just losing people.
Yeah, his whole world is kind of falling apart.
Just falling apart.
Oh, and then not to mention, wifey comes in, Stephanie.
Man.
Coming with the papers.
I knew those were divorce papers.
Oh, and because, she had mentioned it on the phone, when he was like, wait a minute. You talking about getting a divorce? And she was just like, we'll talk about it later. I'm like, oh, can you leave it in any worse situation? Like, is that what you're going to talk about? We'll talk about it later. Like, oh, how you going to leave me hanging like that? So they have their confrontation. And really, it was you kind of, there was still something there. Like, she's trying to still salvage the relationship. Like, I just want the Bobby that I met when you first got into this and you were going places, all this stuff. And then he hits her with the bomb. I don't know if I can get him, if that guy's still here, or you can bring him back.
Loser!
But you know what?
That's just not nice.
And I'll give it to Stephanie, because when she heard that, she was like, you better sign those papers. She didn't try to.
That's how you feel. Sign those papers.
And she didn't try to coax him or push. It was just like
no.
Right,
and I'll tell you what. That's because she had her little powwow with Carrie in California.
Yes,
and
indeed.
I am so glad. She said, "You know what? I have to. I gotta let go of this.
Right.
Like I don't want to." But I'm going to have to.
And she said it when she first gave. She was like, I don't want a divorce.
No.
And then he still hits her with the, I don't know if he's. And then it's like, okay, you know what? I done given you the chances to do it.
Mi amor, like él quiere los dos.
Right
which
on.
means he wants both.
Oh.
He wants both women.
Oh, man. You can't be living that life.
No,
Bobby.
you cannot. You're a mayor.
Stephanie's
You
not
cannot
having
be
it.
doing that.
Stephanie's not having it. She's like, goodbye. So, yeah, that's and then that kind of led into him going outside and giving his impassioned speech to the homeless, or not homeless. Well, yeah, I guess they were homeless.
At the moment, yeah.
To the people on the streets across City Hall, talking about if I don't come up with a plan for the homeless within a year.
The 21st century fair housing is what he said.
That you guys can, I don't deserve to be your mayor.
That's right.
And really, the people were actually looking at him like, wow, like for the first time, they maybe actually believed, like, man, he's actually being sincere this time for that short period of time. Now, he may have still said that stuff to be self-serving, because he did say, politicians. When I write that down,
right. Like you can't trust politicians.
We say whatever we need to be elected, and we say whatever we need to get reelected. So who knows if that was a play of him feeding right into that. But you kind of had, like, in his face, you could kind of see, like, man. I
kind of feel like he just had it. And he was just like, you know what, guys? I don't blame you. Don't listen to me.
Right.
Because.
And even Angela kind of gave him that look at the end, like, okay. Like, maybe you're all right. She's like, but I still don't really trust you. But maybe in these last 20 seconds, maybe you did a little something.
You did a little something. You're like finally telling some kind of truth.
And then my man, I don't know if you guys caught it too, but my man who probably had the quote of the night, just black man in the crowd, when he was like, if I don't come through, you cannot reelect me. And he was like, damn right. And I was like, that's right. He got his line in. That's what I'm talking about. And they were probably like, we got to pay this dude. He's like, give me my SAG check for saying my, but he had a real look on his face. Like, I was like, man, he is one of the people right there. People of Chicago, they got this dude straight off, so whoever that was, shout out to you. You played that role for 5 seconds. You know,
And it was great.
It was great.
It was powerful.
Oh man, and
Woo!
and then just to kind of wrap up the whole City Hall situation, Jessica comes in after having a powwow with Angela, really trying to tell her you're really just doing too much. And then she finds out, you know what, you lost your job. She's like, I'm trying to help these people, and it hits Angela. You would be the perfect alderman to take that seat. The one that was offered to Carlos Salazar, she's like, no, you are my cousin. I see how much you care for these people. You're willing to actually put your family, your kids out on the street for something that you believe in. Yeah. That's the kind of person these people need representing them.
And because they
speaking for them.
They listened to her.
And her leadership came through, even though sometimes you would think it was hard-headed, but deep down she stuck to her guns.
She really did.
So Jessica says that, hey, I'm going to offer you that seat. And Angela's still a little leery. Like, why are you doing this? You said the same thing to Carlos. What's he going to think? And she's like, hey, look, you're family, and I really see you have what it takes to really represent this community, because she is the community. So
she is, and they do listen to her.
Oh yeah. So that's on the table, and we know Jessica said she was going to submit her name.
And the only name
that
she's going to submit.
So that's like you said, going again, I'll save it for predictions, but I feel like that could be another saying stuff about that could be another storyline going forward. Angela getting a seat at the table, as Jessica would say.
Yes.
So
join the family business.
Yeah. So that's in terms of the city revolution being I don't know if you call it solved, but you definitely saw a little bit of resolution, some different storylines kind of coming to the top that they could continue with.
I know.
So that will be very, very interesting to monitor going forward.
Season 2, come on, let's go.
That's what I'm saying, people. That's what I'm saying. And so that leads us to the final situation going on in this, which is just like, just talk about bombs being dropped.
Boom.
We see our boy, like I said, when we thought Jeff was going to come in and get a rude awakening, probably with some naked Nick in his shower. Like, wait a minute. Come to find out, the feds had pulled him to the side. And some of those ones, I know you guys remember, I don't know if it was like episode 3 or 4 where they had the pictures on their, I don't know what you call those walls that the police use.
FBI
where they put the pictures of people they're tracking and they draw lines and all that stuff. So Jessica was one of those pictures. And in episode 3, you're like, who has her on the wall? Like, why are
Right.
Now we find out it was actually kind of going back in time type thing. The FBI had her on the list because Jeff stole that file regarding the murder of that. Now I forgot his name. I think it was like Tony something. I don't know. You guys in the chat, you guys can help me out.
You can help us.
But he stole that file to get to Jessica. And apparently, we didn't know he had stolen it, or even Jessica didn't know.
No, she didn't know.
But he went in deep, just to show that he had her back, goes in, gets this file. He's in it, like neck deep. They're coming after him. She's telling him, we can't talk at the house. We got to go talk in our Mercedes.
He wrote that down.
Right. So they go, and I thought it was like a mad standoff going on when she came in the house with him and Nick, because they were just like staring. I was like, oh, are they about to like kill each other? What's going on? So they go down and talk about, hey, feds are probably tapping your phone. They probably have the whole 5th floor of City Hall tapped. They're coming after you. They've already come after me. So Jessica's probably getting all this information like, wait, what? No, what's going on? No. Jeff kind of leads on how he stole the file. So all of this going on, he's telling, and Jeff, you kind of see their relationship come into play, Jeff and Jessica.
It really felt to me like their relationship is coming to an end.
Yeah. I mean, the way that they were talking, when Jeff was like, hey, you owe me the truth. And, this is the last thing I'll ask of you. Go talk to this guy, from the feds.
Implied like, well, we're not married. So
we don't have any privileges in turn. There's no marital privilege.
Exactly.
So they could have you testify. So.
And you have something to lose because you can lose your license.
Yeah. And he was the partner at the firm.
The look he gave her, like.
So he's, that whole thing, like you said, was starting to crumble around Jessica in terms of their relationship over this file that he got her. So, and that kind of leads us to the full circle of the episode when you see Jessica back shredding the pictures, which
Just
everybody knows what happened in the very first. That was the opening scene of the season, showing her in the office. So when they tied that all around, you're like, wait, I've seen that. I saw that in the first episode. Now I know why she was. And they play that whole scene again. The FBI, they hit up Carrie.
I know.
So now you're wondering, oh man, is this going to affect her getting? She just accepted her new job.
Her new job. Now it's like FBI is coming to talk to her.
She was probably looking like,
come on, like I want to leave the city. I want to leave this whole city hall. I want to just leave.
These people, like her face when they open the door, like I cannot believe these people.
Was sweating
no
bullets.
way. So she's got it. She's kind of been
She's gotta
pulled
deal with
in.
that.
So maybe she's not really. Maybe she won't really be relinquished because we're looking like, oh, it's just a clean break. She's gonna go start her new job. And maybe this is the way the writers were like, nope, we got to pull her back in. Because now she's involved in this investigation, which is probably going to link back somehow to the mayor. So everybody's going to get pulled in again.
And season
that's
two.
That's how we keep the group together.
That's how we keep the group
That's
together.
how we keep the group together. So I thought it was an amazing episode. Loved it.
Great finale.
Oh, yeah. Like just how they, and like you said, the way they ended it, just with the mayor and Jessica talking. And she's basically like, let me fix this. Let's get this thing going. Let's get to work. So you're like,
okay, there's got to be a
they got to
season
bring
two.
the season because I got to see how this is going to work out, how all these stories got to come back, all these people come back. So, I thoroughly enjoyed us. Let us know your comments.
Yes.
I mean, your thoughts in the comments on what you guys thought and how it all ended. And, and then side note, just real quick, comment on the whole Derek Yoli situation.
I know.
He kind of got.
Come on.
He kind of got a little.
We can leave that for contempt or something like that if you want to do that.
Okay, we could.
We could slide that right in there.
That was a little. I was just like, oh, he got a little hurt on that one, you know.
did.
So, but I want to move into our best quotes real quick. 3 best quotes of the night. So I'll start with
Go
one.
ahead, go with your quote.
That
I have the contempt.
that I saw. One was actually when Stephanie, Bobby's wife, when they were talking, and she was basically, when they were talking on the phone, his son had just said goodnight, and he was like, oh, okay, mom wants to talk to dad. She gives him his son gives Stephanie the phone. They start talking, and she mentions the divorce part, and Bobby's like, wait, you want to get a divorce? And he starts getting mad, and she's like, quote, I'm not the one who's been neutering you. End quote.
Right.
I was like, oh, Stephanie, again.
I wrote that one too.
I don't know if they had a specific writer for Stephanie, but she be dropping bombs on folks, but in a sly way, because she never gets raises her voice.
No, she doesn't get
She's
angry.
always just smooth. She's just like that silent sniper, just like, oh, by the way, boom. And then just walks away like... You know what I'm saying? So that was one of my favorite quotes of the night. Did you have
That's literally what I highlighted. I highlighted that quote, and then I have contempts.
Gotcha.
That's what I have. That's what stood out for me.
The other one, well, actually, I already mentioned one of the other ones was my black man just saying, damn right. Like, that was just a silly one.
Well,
but
the word with the peck, although I'm not sure should that be contempt or for this one, because Jolie mentioning it's just a peck.
That's how she kind of hit him right there. You were like, oh,
should that
man.
be contempt? Because I don't.
She did the gut punch and walked away
that
too.
That was a kiss. That was not a peck.
I'm like, dang, Yoli, if that was just the peck, when you really get into it, I'm like, man, she's doing some stuff, you know? And then the last quote was, for me, was really Derek. Like I said, when him and the mayor were getting into it, mayor just says, pick a side. And he was like, I just did. Boom. Like, drop the mic. I'm out. Didn't even turn around or anything. So I was like, gangster. Love it. Love the writing. Like I said, just every week you guys giving us gems to talk about. So we appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And that kind of leads us into our favorite segment of the show. You're in contempt. That's right, people. When you hear that gavel go down, it's about to go down on this show. Now, you guys know how it goes. You're in contempt. We always pick a moment of the show, either a line or, like I said, a moment that you just shake your head. You're like, you did not just do that. You did not just say that. So let's start with Ms. Jackie. What was your in contempt moment?
So then I have in contempt because McGann, please, dude, with your language and how these people are coming into the neighborhood.
Right.
And it's not good because those people, you're in contempt. That's not how you talk about any kind of people.
Right. No, I got to second that motion on McGann. That when and even Bobby
Pat
picked
McGann
up on
is
it.
just-
Bobby was like, "Whoa, like say it." What is he's like? People might mistake you for a racist. Watch yourself. Like, that's not gangster. You don't go around doing that. I would say my in contempt moment was Yoli coming down on some Derek. I know it's kind of a petty one, people. It might be
not. I like it.
But the way that she just came in and really just hurt his pride because he was kind of feeling himself. He's like, hey, so you just like avoiding me? Like, how about that kiss? And she was like, what kiss?
It's a peck.
It was a peck. And he was like, no. Because like when your lips hit mine, she was like, no. I was like, Yoli, how you trying to act going back to the hard role again?
Yeah.
Derek,
that was not.
And Derek's face was looking
twice.
like
She said it.
Derek's
twice.
face. He was looking like what? I was like, get yourself together, black man. You're press secretary. You got to go handle stuff. Get worried about this little girl and her kiss.
Let me explain something.
But that's the way it goes. It hits the heart.
Latinas are hard to get.
So the way she put it on him, even though she might have thought it was a kiss, he must have been like, wow, this is like the best he'd ever had. So.
That's why the people
Yoli,
get
you're in
hooked.
contempt. There we go.
Yoli.
They get hooked. So I want to move into our media or news segment.
Yeah, juicy little news I have here. So I have a picture here. It's the whole group. It's the main core principles of. There they are.
Hey.
That's from their first table read.
Wow.
You believe this? So to come full circle, because it's the finale, that is their first table read. I love it. Just look how awesome and happy they look together.
I feel like that's kind of Carrie's kind of sandwiched there in between
Derek
and Jessica
Pearson.
Yeah. So there we go.
I love it. And then we have a picture of. We've got. I don't know what picture you're gonna put. Whatever you put up there, I'm gonna go with it. I love it. Okay, so we all know that Carrie, and it says in Instagram, do you think Carrie should enter the private sector? And I actually wrote on Instagram and I said, yes, please enter the private sector. Get out of there.
I think she was also writing like, yes, I'm trying.
Yeah, and
these
that's
people
actually
keep pulling me back in.
That's actually from like she's accepting the new gig.
Yep.
And she's gonna start Monday, but I don't know now.
Oh yeah, for sure. That might be the
See
longest
what
Monday
happens.
ever.
And here's a picture of Jessica Pearson with Jeff Malone.
That was a real scene.
Real scene. I mean, he's just like, let's get out of here. I don't even want to talk. He just writes it down. Despite everything, Jeff will always have Jessica's back. That's what it says on Instagram, and I love it. And then this is a real juicy one. We've got Nick D'Amato with who else?
Mr. Pat
McGann himself. They are actually friends, people. They're real good buddies off screen.
That's cool.
This is how it goes. Actor's life.
Right.
We get so involved in the stories, and then we're like, oh my God, they really can't stand each other. But hey, truly we like each other or love each other. And sometimes on set, they do not like each other.
There you go. They got to
Just
get in
to let you know how it
right.
goes, because I'm an actress and comedian, and he's a comedian as well. Actor, the whole
You get in those roles and be like, well, especially like you said, when you hear stories of people, whether sometimes it's like soap operas or actors, like your favorite people, and people see them on the street, like, I can't believe you did this. And you'll be like, that's a character I play. That is not really me,
Yeah,
So, but it's like when you play it that well, where people are like, I hate you, it's like, man, I'm doing my job real well.
Doing my job. Ooh.
And so, well, thank you for that news, Jackie. That was very great. And that's going to lead us into our predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
This is what it comes down to, people. Like I said, amazing finale, great season. Couple things I want to go over. One, Angela being possibly being an alderman. Yes. I think that could be a phenomenal storyline, because if she gets in there, I think that would be very similar to maybe how Bobby started. Very much crusader. Now, once she gets in there, is she going to fall prey to some of the politics that go on, or is she still going to be the champion of the people? Because that can be a hard line for people to toe. So I think coming into season 2, which I'm believing you guys got to give us season 2, that would be a great storyline to kind of go with and see how she deals with
I would think so.
that.
I think she could totally do it.
I think it would be an interesting way to see how they finagle that with her character. So
yes. For me, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet because I know we have to wrap it up. But guys, what I want and what I'm predicting is season 2 is totally happening.
There we go.
And then we'll figure out all the juiciness that comes with it.
Yeah, they got, like you said, you guys left us.
Because they're going to all be together, and Carrie's not going to go anywhere. She's going to be stuck in that city.
You're right. They left us on stuff, the cliffhanger,
Boom.
plus FBI everywhere. We got to see how this is resolved. So come on, people. USA, bring them back. We want to see some Mo Pearson, Jessica Pearson, everyone on the whole crowd.
the whole cast.
And so you guys, again, comment, leave us some comments what you guys think, what your predictions are, and just tell us how much you want season 2. Because I know if you're fans, you've been watching the whole season. I know you guys want it to come back, so we want to hear from you. And like I said, hopefully USA is looking as well and being like, the people want it back. This is a show of the people. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we do it. That's how we do it. So on that note, guys, thank you so much for joining us this season. Jackie, let them know where they can follow you.
Yes, guys, you can find me on all social media, Jackie Nova 7. And also go to oxfilms.us because my action suspense thriller, Art of Deception, comes out October 8th across the USA. It's already across the world. So guys, listen, check it out. Art of Deception. It's a Richard Ryan film. Richard Ryan and I produced it, and we are starring in it. So again, Art of Deception. Watch it.
Boom.
Buy it.
Jackie doing big things. So definitely go support her movie. Follow her on social media. You can follow me, Tanir Williams, on Instagram and Twitter at TanirW. That's at TENEREW. All right. Again, great season, Jackie. I loved hosting it with you.
I love it.
So fun. You guys have a great week. We appreciate you guys, and we look forward to seeing you again. All right?
Yes.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Peace.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.